Hey, Bev.
Hi.
Thanks for
Hi,
being
Robin.
here today.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
I appreciate you being here and
Yeah,
sharing your story with everybody.
yeah.
Um, you have an interesting story of life. You've done a lot of things. So, you're a wife, a mom, you were a senior paralegal for the PGA Tour, right?
Yes.
And you are a horse lover and an equine facilitator for adults and children with special needs.
Yes, I assist a group that does that. Yes.
Okay, tell us about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Tell us about
Well, it started out where I had my own side business that I got certified as an equine assisted learning facilitator.
it.
And
Okay,
so I would have people come because I have horses on my property, and I would have people come in small group, individuals or small groups, and they would work with my horses
okay,
um, in various obstacles or even just grooming things where they can just get in touch with the horse and themselves. And they're
okay,
working on life skills, such as communication, trust, focus, things like that.
okay,
And then I started volunteering with a group called Grace Under the Oaks. It's a local nonprofit, and they do adaptive riding.
okay,
And so I started out, as a sidewalker. And so with my programs, they didn't ride. It was
okay,
just working on the ground with the horses. And where I was volunteering was and then I ended up being a horse leader. And so they do all sorts of amazing things at that group. And then she also started offering equine assisted learning activities
okay.
on the ground. And so I do help facilitate those with
That's
various groups. So yeah,
that's
I
awesome.
enjoy it.
So horses, I don't know a lot about. I've rode
Hmm.
horses before, but I really don't know a lot about them. But I know that people say that they are very sensitive to people's emotions. So how does
They
that
absolutely
how does
are.
that work?
Well, their hearts are like 10 times bigger than ours, and they have this electromagnetic field
Okay,
that they can sense things from a distance. And the things that go on inside your body, your vibrate, everything's energy, of
mm-hmm.
course, as we know,
Yeah.
and the things we do, um, and the the vibration of your cells goes to the horse, and they can feel everything that's going on inside of you. I don't want to say it's magical because it sounds not real, but I mean, people who've come out and worked with the horses, they understand, and they have a way of helping a person find the answers within themselves.
Wow.
And as a
Interesting.
facilitator, you know, I can see what's going on with the horse's body language, and that's how the horse talks to the person
Oh,
or to me,
interesting.
is their
Okay.
body language.
Okay.
And and then I would, as a facilitator, you bring things to the person's attention, because even though in the beginning we say, watch out for the horse's body language, if their head is up, if their eyes are big,
Oh, okay.
if there's something going on, if they're not moving, that is a chance for you to step back and ask yourself, what is going on with me, and what is going to the horse.
Fascinating.
So yeah, I mean, the horse is just helping a person realize their
Regulate
own.
their own.
Yes, yeah, it
I
is.
love that.
If you take the time, and
Mm,
that's the important thing about working with horses, is being in the moment and being present with them, because
wow.
they have so many answers for you. But our
I
minds
love
tend
that.
to be in other things, so that's why it's really important to just be in the moment
I
with
love
them.
that. And I can
Yeah.
see how that works with
Hmm.
people who have challenges,
Hmm. Yeah.
emotional or physical challenges,
Oh
because the
yeah.
horse can navigate
Hmm.
through what's
Oh
physical,
yeah.
probably, and what's emotional. And I
Right,
love
right. And
that.
the movement with the riding part of it, the movement of the horse helps them physically, with,
Wow.
moving their hips and doing different things. So that's another added perk of, when it's the riding
I love that.
activities.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fascinating. So, today, you came here today to
Hmm.
share your story about your son, James.
Yes.
And it's that's been an interesting uh, thing for me to kind of look into before you came here today, just to
Hmm.
go, this epidemic that we're living in right now, that we're still trying to harness. I know that there's a lot of things going on that they're trying to harness
Hmm.
fentanyl
Hmm.
use and youth, and just I think
Yes.
it's probably an epidemic across the board. But in your case, James is who
Hmm.
suffered from his addiction with that, right?
Well, he alcohol and drug use was something he did, from his teen years. And we had actually talked about fentanyl back, you know, prior to his passing. And, he told me, he's like, oh yeah, I have friends who had gotten, had fentanyl, and we had to Narcan them back. So he was aware of fentanyl. But to my knowledge, he never did anything with fentanyl, until the night he took what he thought was a Percocet that he got from someone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And found out from the autopsy that it was laced with a huge amount of fentanyl that he could, and no one was around at the time to know that he had taken that, and that, because by the time he was found, his friend thought he was just asleep. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he was aware, but you never think that it would happen to you.
Right.
So
yeah. So I know that you have a daughter,
Mhm.
Sarah,
Sarah,
right?
yeah.
Now she is younger.
She's my
She's
firstborn, so she's
firstborn,
30.
okay.
Yeah, they were 4
30.
years apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sarah, I'm sure, has had her own journey with the loss of her brother with that too.
Yes.
So how has she navigated through this process that you're aware of, as far as her going through her own process of losing her brother to fentanyl?
Yeah. Well, gosh, it has been a journey for her. There were many tough times between the two of them because they're just completely different people. And so growing up, he always seemed to get a lot of attention, and negative attention, because of things that were going on. And so it wasn't really until we were at this parents conference after our son had passed, and my husband had this, just like this download of information, he got all the attention when he was alive. Now he's getting all the attention that he's gone. Let's have a shift in focus to our daughter now. So that was something. So, and she shared, fortunately, she came back to live with us at the same time he was living with us after he had gotten out of the Army. So there was a year that they had, which is such a blessing in hindsight, to kind of get to know each other a little better.
Right.
And to not just be, like, oh, he did this or he did that. And they were like cultivating a relationship and understanding each other. She was just, it's so beautiful that their relationship kind of bloomed a little more during that time, because little did we know, what was going to happen. And so it really was such I think she bottled it up first, but when she spoke at his service, I was shocked, frankly, because she doesn't like to speak in front of people, and the things that she said were just so touching. And then after that, she was having a hard time processing the grief.
Yeah.
And then she would speak to someone about it, and we really didn't know that what she was going through with it. And then she expressed that she, then she had this concern, like when her father and my husband and I would travel, that what if something happened to us? So death has become had a new meaning for her. Like, oh my gosh, when my grandmother dies, what's going to happen? So she almost death has a new meaning for her now that it did before. Right. So that's a process for her.
Yeah. So when you found out about James, I know it sounds like that you had a lot of precursors, or you had a lot of warning signs that things might get worse along the way, right? Because it seemed like he had struggled with.
He did struggle. And then when he went in the Army for 3 years, he did really, really well. And then when he got out of that, things were going well. And then it was just an up and down. But at the time he passed, he had been sober for 6 months. He was getting drug tested regularly. And so we were really thinking that we were kind of on the other side of this. He wanted a family, he wanted to be married and have a family. So, the night it happened, he had just had a drug test and was clean. Wow. So, we were thinking, we were like, he was 23. He was it was like, he's going to outgrow this, or we're going to come on the other side of this. And why he, chose to do it that night, take a pill, get a pill from someone and take it.
Yeah.
He probably thought, okay, well, maybe I won't be drug tested for a while. So yeah, it was
a lot of
a shock. There were many other times in the previous years that he could have died easily in the things he was doing. So we thought, okay, we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
Because there were some really, really tough years in there.
Yeah.
Prior.
Some children are just predispositioned to, for some reason, not be able to find themselves or find the way out on the other side of what all kids go through. I mean, I think all children, we did it too, go through our own, our own journey of life. But, we pop out on the other side somewhere.
We experiment with things.
Yeah, but when you have a child that's troubled, continually troubled, and you're holding on to hope that every time this next thing might be the thing that pushes them over so they can go on, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. I remember one time, I have to share this, that we were talking in the kitchen, and and he was in a sober frame of mind, and just talking about what he had done previously, and he said, Mom, he said, when I take drugs, I feel like God. I feel like I'm God, or that I'm with God. Like that's the feeling I get. So I reflect back on that and think, everything I've learned in the spiritual journey I've been on for many years, even prior to his passing, that he was longing for that feeling, and that's how he was finding it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes me kind of think about like how we really need to remember who we really are, and in a sense, I kind of feel like maybe he was trying to get back. He was trying to remember who he, in his essence, who he really, really was. And same thing for my son. That was the one thing. It was just like, I just want to feel the good.
Yeah.
And for them, they just were never able to like find it without the drugs. Without the drugs.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
So you and your husband Bill have navigated, and Sarah have navigated through all of this. And what do you feel like is the thing that has kept you kind of afloat with all of it? I mean, what are the things? I know that working with the horses, you're retired now, so there are things that are filling up your time, but what do you feel like is your bottom line anchor for everything right now that holds you kind of in place, that's helped you move through it?
Well, I think it's all been part of the spiritual aspects. I grew up with religion, and I was always looking for the connection to God, but didn't seem to find it, through religion. And now, I think it's looking for signs from Him. That's what keeps my hope alive. Not my hope, because I know I will be with Him again, but my connection with Him now. I feel like even with Bill and with Sarah, we talk about the signs, like, oh, there's look at the eagle. That's probably, a sign from James, or look at this, or, oh, we heard, this song on Pandora, that reminds us of him. And so keeping his memory alive, and keeping his name alive, and looking at pictures that come up on memories, and not, initially it would be sadness, and it's like, oh my gosh, and just trying to keep like happiness, like, oh, remember that was a fun time we did that. So gosh, and having, like, I've had some very vivid dreams with him over the last, so next week will be 3 years that he's passed, November 3rd. And so on each anniversary of that, my husband and daughter and I get together, and we usually go have sushi, or something to remember him by. And on his birthday, we do something special, which is in March. So I just think it's in talking about him. I want to have pictures out with him and talk about him. And one of his best friends stays in touch with us, and just had a baby like this past week. And he texted me and sent me pictures, and I'm like, well, what's her name? And so James's first name is Matt. Madison James was his name, and they named their daughter Madison after him.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was so touching. And then he has some other girls that he was friends with that stay in touch, and one in particular always shares signs. So keeping that, I don't know, something about keeping in touch with, his age people and his, people that were friends with him
Yeah.
really is,
Your connection,
yeah, is
another
my
connection.
connection with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
With
And I
him
think
through
they
you.
like, talking with me because I remind them maybe of him, and,
Yeah.
it's still keeping his memory and everything going.
I love that.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's, and the helping parents, the medium readings, I do at least one or two a year.
Okay.
And I did take right after he passed, I took a course with Suzanne Giesman, a mediumship course.
Okay.
Because I really want, and I haven't put the time in like what, she says to do. I haven't actually done it. Maybe it's just not my time for that.
Right.
But I do spend quiet time and listening to podcasts or just doing things that remind me of the connection, or having readings, or just, because rather than getting caught up in my everyday life, I do try to reflect. And
so curiosity, what has, like you're talking about, having readings done, what is that? What has that done for you specifically? Because this seems to be kind of a theme. People want to somehow be connected to answer questions, or to just have a knowing, a solid knowing. Some people are more intuitive, but some people need help from the outside. So what's been your experience with having those readings done?
Well, and all the mediums say, it's the general theme with mediums is that you don't need us to have a connection to your loved one or to your child. You can do it on your own. But the evidence, it's got to be the evidence of they bring up things that have been going on in our lives, like in the last few weeks, or, well, initially it's, maybe the way they passed, or different things about the life, just to verify, okay, this is your loved one. How else would I know this? And I remember I was having a Zoom reading with someone. She was in the UK, and there were just so many things that happened, like with spaghetti sauce. And I had just gotten a container of spaghetti sauce from my neighbor, like that day. Like, how, what? And then she said, okay, why am I, and my hands were down. She's like, why am I wanting to ask you about a tattoo on your forearm? And I was like, well, because I got this in memory of him. And then she's like, oh my gosh. And then she's like, well, I was in my garden prior to this reading, and I took a picture of this feather, and I said, this must be for my upcoming reading. And I have a feather in and it looked just like it. So things that are evidential, like, there's no way they would know these things. So it's coming from the other side. And I just choose to believe it's coming from him. So it's
been your experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have been encouraged through that process.
Yeah. And I know it's him, and I know but I think the dreams I've had, the dream I had with him when I hugged him and said, I've missed you so much. That, like, I woke up in tears, because I woke up right after. So
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it comes back to this whole thing, is that, to me, what I'm seeing across the board with so many people as I'm talking to them is that there's a very thin place right now. It seems like people are more able to get connected to their loved ones, or feel their loved ones, or hear their loved ones. I know that my son, we talk a lot, and he shows up in various forms as well, usually like in the form of a dragonfly. Every year has shown up the same way. But, I think it's just us opening up our hearts and softening our minds to just, to be open to those connections. Like she said, it's like, you don't have to have a medium to do that. You can find that for yourself. But sometimes, like I said, they need a little extra help.
Yeah. And I think it depends on the loss too, because my dad passed when I was 24, and I never had a desire to connect with him on the other side. You know what I mean? It was like, but something about having your child.
Your child is different.
It's just so different. Yeah.
So my next question is like, so from this point on, I know that you have grieved your son, your family has grieved your son, but how do you feel like that it has changed your perspective on life and what you're doing, from this point on? How has it changed your purpose in life? things that you're going to be doing or things that you do. I know through Helping Parents Heal is one of those things, through your horse, your equine work. But how do you feel like it's going to like elevate this next season of your life, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Since I just retired now, I do have more time. So, Helping Parents Heal, I really felt a calling, to work with Laura and, just to have a local resource for, this people in this area, for parents who like have nowhere else to turn. They don't, they just want to talk about their kids or don't know even how to process the grief. We're just a soft place to land and to provide support and comfort for them. And the conference, I just have to say that Helping Parents Heal conference is where Laura and I met. Oh my gosh, I've never felt so much love and support with other parents. So that I have to throw that in, because that was that really that's what spurred me on to want to help. Help locally, because I couldn't believe we didn't have something like that here
to help other people heal. I mean, that's really it. And we're going to do another podcast with you and Laura about that, so we can really talk about helping parents heal and that whole organization, because I think that it's something like, it's another resource. There's the Vinson Foundation that's here in Jacksonville, in this area in Ponte Vedra as well. But we want to offer resources to people who are going through a loss of a child, period, whether whether through sickness or drugs, suicide, whatever it is. We want to offer that up. So we'll definitely be talking about that.
And I'm kind of, some part of me is being called to in the direction of maybe do the equine learning and work with families who have had a loss.
Especially their younger children who are going through through grieving as well, to help them have a way to process it, their grief as well.
So that may be coming in the future, now that I have more time on my hands.
And I really, like, I've always sensed, like, every time we've talked, that you have been able to process your grief in a very healthy way. But although, James is in the forefront, like, every day, I really love the fact that you feel strong enough that you can kind of like help other people elevate to a different level of grieving, or to a healthier, whole place of healing. So I really admire that about you and all the work that you're doing. Especially in our own community in Jacksonville, that's huge. So we want people to know about that. So is there anything else?
Well, no, I was just thinking about my husband and our relationship and how it's grown. Like, we really, I know it can, be so tough. Actually, our tougher times in our marriage was when we were going through the challenges with him, because a lot of times we didn't see eye to eye on things. And so
that's a whole subject.
That could be a whole nother podcast.
It sure could.
Dealing with that.
You're not kidding.
That's a good point. And so after he passed, we really came together well. And fortunately, he's been supportive of me. He's never thought like I was crazy for wanting to do a medium reading. He just was supportive, and I really think it's opened his eyes to something he really hadn't gone. He hadn't gone there, talking about the other side. It's like, because his mom, my mother-in-law, passed like just a few months before James did. And so it was, I don't know, I just think just doing more exploration on the spiritual side. He's like, oh, you listen to another spiritual podcast? Or, he's, and so he's just
opened him up.
It really has. And he really enjoyed the conference. He came with me to the conference, and I think some of it just blew him away.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like read and listen to that stuff like I did prior. And so he's like, wow. So
it's helped him.
It has helped him a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That you grew together.
Yeah, we did.
Same. I have very similar story with that. It seems like it actually projected onto us another reason to keep moving forward together.
Yeah.
So same for you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, I
good.
love that. Well, thanks for coming and sharing your story today. I'm thinking that we're probably going to end up doing some more podcasts.
Yes.
Especially you and Laura. And as the work progresses on with helping parents heal, I think that that's going to be something that's definitely going to be coming down the funnel to us in the future.
Great.
And I appreciate you being here today.
Good. Well, thank you for hosting this.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Yes. And bye for now. See you soon. Thanks.